I had this thought while looking down at Savannah. I thought, I have no idea how she's feeling. I'm sure she has stomach aches and muscle pains. I'm sure there are days she wants nothing more than to just lay in bed. And yet, each day, regardless of how she's feeling, she walks every mile with her tail held high. During those difficult months, I strived to be more like Savannah, to put in a good day's work, be content, then set the day aside. Savannah taught me the power of consistency, and especially the power of consistency through adversity. When it's dark and difficult and you're questioning even your core values, consistent action is the way out. There were days, there were weeks that walking around the world was brutally difficult. But after getting through those days so many times, I began to know deep down that I would get through those days and that those days weren't permanent. Towards the end of our journey, Savannah and I walked Wyoming in December. I thought, after years of walking abroad, after walking the Americas and Europe and North Africa and Turkey and Georgia and Azerbaijan and Uzbekistan and Kyrgyzstan, I thought a walk across my home country where I know the culture and speak the language would be a piece of cake. No. The U.S. is massive and Wyoming is a beast. More people live in Alaska than live in Wyoming. I went nearly a week there without access to food or water. I was isolated, the days were short, I pushed over hills and down gorges of rough terrain, and all while the wind blew at 70 miles per hour and it was about 10 degrees outside. But after 6.5 years of walking, I didn't care. Not to say that I wasn't frustrated at times and that I didn't beg every minute of every day for a break in the wind, but more to say that I knew this state wasn't permanent and that with enough steps, I would get to the other side. And I was right. It was difficult, but I made it. And so will you, as long as you trust your map and keep pushing forward, even if it's just one step at a time. The second tenet, embrace inconvenience, is something I've seen the value of more and more now that the walk is over and I've begun integrating into normal life. Hasn't been easy. Looking back, it took me a long time to recognize the benefits of walking. The benefits of walking are subtle and gradual. It's not like that hit of dopamine you get when you bite into a burger or open Instagram. But the benefits of walking are real and profound. There are 1,000 studies correlating even a brief amount of time spent walking with physical well-being, with lower blood pressure, improved balance, improved cognitive function, increased muscle strength. Even according to a meta-analysis of 15 studies, a 40 to 53% lower risk of death from any cause. The mental benefits of walking are incredible as well. There's an endless list of great thinkers for who walking was critical in refining their thoughts. Nietzsche's maxim was all truly great thoughts are conceived while walking. Yet beyond even the mental, physical, and emotional benefits of walking, what happens when you choose to walk is that you are saying to yourself at a very fundamental level, the time you spend going somewhere is as valuable as the time you spend at the destination. I've come to think of this idea as embracing inconvenience. Walking over driving is only one example of what I mean by inconvenience. By inconvenience, I mean small, everyday choices that are slightly uncomfortable, but immensely yet subtly beneficial. I mean taking the stairs instead of taking the escalator. I mean cooking rather than ordering in. I mean waiting to watch a movie with friends instead of watching it alone. Today, more than any other time in our history, we have become accustomed to instant gratification. Entire industries exist just to satisfy our every urge. But this has conditioned us to believe that we should always be at a destination and never on the journey. But life is all journey and no destination. At the very beginning of my walk, just a few weeks in, I had a tire puncture, and I grew wildly upset. I was trying to walk 20 miles that day, and not only was it slowing me down on this day, it was slowing me down on another day because I have to go out of my way to get more tubes. I sat on the side of the road fuming. But then it occurred to me that over the next 7 years, it was inevitable that I would be changing a lot of tires. I was pushing a baby carriage with all my things in it. Tires were going to pop. If I became upset every time I had to fix a tire, I would be spending a lot of my time angry while I was living my dream. So I decided right then that I would never view a puncture as an inconvenience, but rather as just part of the journey. I saw the benefit of this immediately. Rather than a puncture derailing my whole day, it began to act as a trigger to be mindful. The first thing you'll notice when you embrace these supposed inconveniences is that you're more present more often, and that you have less stress because you develop the practice of taking things as they are without attaching your anxiety to them. In a way, embracing inconvenience is just the practice of accepting your humanity. It's the acknowledgement that physical activity feels good, that time with friends and family feels good, that being cold is what helps you appreciate the warmth, and that you're small, the world is big. Sometimes we run against it. We have our map to the question of how to live, and we have two tenets to help us build resilience and enjoy the journey. But your life, your company, your town will only improve if you take action. So I want to recommend one last thing. On the last day of our journey, Savannah and I walked 9 miles from Philadelphia to my parents' home in New Jersey. We had news crews with us, a documentary team. People had signs in their windows to cheer us on. And as we reached the finish line, hundreds of people were waiting. It was incredible. This dream I had set in the distance 16 years earlier was finally complete. But it began here. It began by pushing this insane cart that would break 3 times in the first month. It began by getting blisters, by losing toenails, by carrying way more than I ever needed, by getting lost, by being scared, and by not yet having met the companion that would be by my side through everything. It began by taking that first step. That is more important than anything else. You must begin. Most people never decide what they want out of life, and even fewer people begin down the path to reach it. But in order to reach your dreams, you must be willing to be uncomfortable. And you must be willing to fail. And not only fail, but fail over and over and over in a million different ways. Most people handle their life with so much care that they never do anything with it. Most people are so afraid of making mistakes or looking foolish that they never try. But the secret of life is that it's already over. We lost the game the moment we entered it. Only right now, you are here, you exist, and you are far more creative, persistent, and resilient than you realize. So be more reckless. I don't mean reckless in the vein of dismissing your friends and family. I mean be more reckless in your willingness to begin, in your willingness to try, and in your willingness to fail in the direction of your dreams. A beautiful life is out there, but you're the one that has to take the first step. Thank you.